Overpaying for anything sucks, especially socks, so why pay $45 for a single pair of grip socks when you can spend less than half? Pure Grip Socks Pro feature our best materials for optimal fit, moisture wicking, and performance at a fair price, just $16.99 a pair at puregripsocks.com.
Kylian Mbappé was asked what superpower he would grant a pair of football boots, and his answer was flames. Why flames? Well, because they are the best representation of speed. I tend to disagree. I think this is the best representation of speed, but nonetheless, this is why we have the KM Flames colorway of the Nike Mercurial Superfly 8 Elite that I happen to have here in the AG Pro stud variation, which I don't think I've ever talked about on the channel yet. And given that the Nike Mercurial is still the most popular boot on the market, with arguably the most aggressive FG stud pattern you can buy, given how many people regularly play on artificial grass with that FG Mercurial stud pattern, long story short, it is very, very unsafe, which is why Nike makes the AG version, a version of the Mercurial that you should strongly consider if you regularly play on artificial grass. So what I want to do in this video is of course take a closer look at the boots and mainly talk about what the difference is between the FG and AG variations of the Mercurial Superfly that would also apply to the Vapor 14 because they're the same thing, one with a collar, the other without. Nonetheless, if you're interested in learning more, including how they fit and feel on feet, please stick around, and if you are interested in a pair of AG Mercurials for yourself, you can pick them up below their normal retail price by way of some exclusive SR4U coupon codes by checking out the link to the review page on my website, which you can find down below. As always, if you guys do end up enjoying the content and want to see more reviews of different stud pattern variations, please don't forget to support this one with a like. And also guys, I have a goal of hitting 750,000 subscribers on the channel by the end of the year. So for those of you that aren't subbed to the channel, it would mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. Even the bag has flames. So first things first, the upper. We're not going to talk about it very much because it's the same as the FG version of the Superfly 8. Vaporposit upper, super thin, really structured, locked in and responsive with the laces tied tight. The inclusion of Nike's ACC technology for those that care about that. And of course, being that this is the Superfly rather than the Vapor, you get your elasticated Flyknit collar, which you might love, you might hate, but if you don't like it, you do have the option of getting this as a Vapor, although not in this Mbappé colorway. They only make this in the Superfly. The sole plate, however, is also the same, and I'm not talking about the part you can see. That's actually the stud plate. The sole plate runs from heel to toe inside of the boot, and then of course the stud plate goes right over top. So you still get the anatomically shaped sole plate as you would on the FG version, which just like that boot gives you this very connected feel to the boots and only increases the overall responsiveness that the Mercurial series is so well known for. The stud plate, however, you can see is quite a bit different in that you're not going to find any of the usual chevron blades, which means this is significantly less aggressive and much better suited for use on artificial grass. With the studs themselves being significantly shorter than what you're going to find on the FG model, you'll also notice that they are round in shape with a hollowed out core, and that's mainly for the sake of having a little bit of flex to the studs. They're made from a slightly softer plastic material than what you're gonna find from a traditional FG stud pattern, certainly the Mercurial offering, and there's also way more studs underneath your feet, which makes this much better suited for use on artificial grass, and that you're gonna have more evenly distributed pressure along the bottom of your foot because there are more cleats in contact with the ground, artificial grass typically being a more shallow surface. You're also going to find that the sole plate, or sorry, the stud plate is actually a little bit thicker in terms of the plastic used through the forefoot, again for the sake of stud pressure distribution as well as being able to deal with the heat that you're going to have on artificial grass more often than not. But I think the key aspect of this stud pattern for use on artificial grass is the fact that it's so much safer than the regular FG model. These rounded studs, and plenty of them at that, really provide plenty of bite when pushing off, meaning that traction is not going to be an issue, but you're still going to have that freedom to twist and pivot, and in general, they're not going to provide too much grip. With the regular FG stud pattern, not only are they a little bit too tall, which I think can lead to issues with instability and potentially cause you to roll your ankle, but they dig into artificial grass and basically get stuck. So if you get bumped or try to twist the wrong way, you can actually cause yourself a pretty serious knee, hip, or even ankle injury. And I'm sure there are plenty of people in the comment section that would love to share their horror stories. Long story short, if you regularly play on artificial grass, for the sake of your own safety, even if you're wearing FG studs on artificial grass right now and you've never had an issue, trust me when I say this will dramatically reduce your potential risk of injury. And then there's the weight. Is the AG model any heavier or potentially even lighter than the FG variation of the exact same boot? To find out, we're gonna weigh both on a scale, both in the same size, 9.5 US. We'll start off with the standard FG model, the one that most people will have. And you can see that they weigh in at 7.4 ounces, the equivalent of 209 grams. We change the scale back to ounces and we throw on the AG variation. You can see that they weigh in at 7.6 ounces, the equivalent of 216 grams, which is a total weight difference of just 7 grams in favor of the FG model, which means that it's basically a little bit lighter. But are you really going to be able to feel 7 grams on your feet? No, not at all. And I love the fact that despite these stud plates being so different from each other, the overall feel underfoot is pretty well identical. That's something that a lot of brands don't get right when it comes to different sole plate and stud pattern variations, but Nike's done a great job here at giving you a much more well-suited football boot for artificial grass without changing up what makes the regular version of the Mercurial feel so good. So here they are on feet, and like I just talked about, I think Nike has done such a good job of not watering down the AG version of the Mercurial, where I think part of what makes the top-end Mercurial Superfly 8 Elite so special is that anatomic sole plate, and you get exactly that with the AG variation. For comparison's sake, if you look at the AG version of the X Speedflow, it misses out on what is kind of one of the main attractions of that football boot in the raised forefoot with that carbon fiber Carbitex insert. You don't get it on the AG model, and for that reason, a lot of people are just less interested. I think Nike's done a really good job of giving you that core formula of the Mercurial in AG form, which basically means this feels just like a normal FG version of the Superfly 8. There is nothing different about the fit, there is nothing different about the shape, there's nothing different about the feel other than an extra 7 grams, which you are not going to notice on your feet whatsoever. From a width perspective, it's a Mercurial, so they fit really tight on your feet. If you've worn Mercs in the past, you kind of know what to expect. If you have really wide feet, they're probably not a great option for you, but should fit most people as long as you like that tight fit. And then as far as sizing is concerned, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, just like the FG model, I would strongly recommend going true to size. So in conclusion, the Superfly 8 is great. You don't need me to tell you that, but the AG sole plate and stud pattern on this boot, I think, is probably the best one on the market. From a traction standpoint, I think it's very AG specific in regards to how it feels, in that it does not feel out of place in any way at all. I think unlike some other AG stud patterns, which I also think are really good and certainly safer than an FG stud pattern, this is very targeted for use on artificial grass, and one of those stud patterns that really wouldn't work very well on a natural grass playing surface. Not to say that you couldn't wear this, but the traction in general is not going to be that great because they really went for a specialized design specifically for use on artificial playing surfaces. And I think on that surface, paired up with the anatomic sole plate of the Mercurial, as well as just the tight, responsive feel that this football boot has for use on artificial grass, if you're on the market for a pair of speed boots, this is a pretty tough one to beat.